Hello and welcome to the grand 40th episode of Jedi Eternal. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew Bolin, alongside the man, the myth, the legend, Braxton Taylor.
Wow. That was actually really nice for once. I'm not even just saying that from you to me. I'm saying from me to you too as well.
Actually, you know, there is a reason for that.
Yeah, there is. Well, basically, Andrew's like, hey, we about starting. Like, do you want any coffee? And I'm like, normally I say no because although I do like coffee, I just I don't like doing it right before I have to sit here for an hour. You know what I'm saying? And but I was very tired, so I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so he makes me some coffee, hands it to me, and I look at the mug, it says Andrew, the man, the myth, the legend. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, whatever.
And then he proceeds to go, do you have any that say Braxton on it?
Yeah, you think this is Braxton? I'm like, I feel real out of place right now.
So I was just trying to make you feel a little better.
I don't know that worked, but anyway,
it didn't work. That's a bummer.
But hey, nice
all
try.
Right, let's restart. Start from the top.
Yeah.
Hello, and no, I'm just kidding.
I was like, oh, okay, well, never mind. Yeah, I promise it made me feel good.
Oh, how you been?
I am doing good. How about you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good.
I do want to say before we start, though, happy birthday to the man, the myth, the legend himself. Not Andrew, but Adam Driver.
Oh,
today is Adam Driver's birthday.
I did not realize that.
Who played the infamous Kylo Ren.
Wow.
Probably one of the best things that came out of the sequel trilogy. So
yeah, definitely.
Shout out to him.
Cool,
and also to my mother. It's her birthday as well. She doesn't listen to this podcast, but hey.
She's not going to hear this, but...
but if she does, she'll be very happy.
Well, now you have to tell her that you
no, I'm just going to let her... I'll let her find it organically.
Well, there you go. You'll know for a fact if your mother listens or not, because...
I know she doesn't.
Well, anyways, thanks for joining us today, guys. We have a lot to talk about, as always. We're gonna jump into, of course, into our news, rumors, releases. We have some great Q&A for you guys today as well. And then we're gonna talk about the Lego holiday special.
Oh yeah,
that we just watched.
Yeah,
we'll jump into that, talk about that. That's gonna be a good time. We are not talking about the Mandalorian. And you may be wondering why that is. The issue is we are doing this episode before the next episode of Mandalorian is released.
Yes,
unfortunately, due to our schedules, we just could not make that work this week. So, that being said, no Mandalorian review from us. And next week, we will not have a podcast episode.
This podcast is falling apart.
Again, due to Thanksgiving, there's going to be some other priorities that we are going to have that week.
Yeah.
So we are going to be missing out on reviewing the next one as well.
Almost like we love our family. Just kidding.
So, all of that being said, we are going to do probably a very, not going to be incredibly long, but we are going to do a live stream chat between the two of us sometime next weekend. And we will go over both the episode that comes out, I guess for you guys, it had just came out yesterday, and then next week's episode as well. We will talk about both of those. I'm going to be out of state, so we're just going to FaceTime each other or I guess not FaceTime, whatever you call it,
like a dual
Facebook.
live Facebook thing.
Yeah. And we'll have a chat about that, and you guys can tune in there and hear our thoughts on those two Mandalorian episodes.
Yeah.
Then the week after that, we will return to normal.
Yeah, unfortunately, that means for those of you who are listening to the podcast, if you're not really a big part of our Facebook community, that means that you're not going to be hearing our opinions on those two episodes because it's not going to be on the podcast. So we would say to encourage you, I would say to encourage you to go on our Facebook page. And what? It's Andrew. Your watch always interrupts our podcast.
It was listening to you. I don't know why.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, the government spying on us. Anyway, so with all that said, per usual. Anyway, no, for real though, if you guys do listen to the podcast, but you're not a part of the Facebook community, and like I said, we also are on Instagram and Twitter, but Twitter is pretty much non-existent, and Instagram is very fledgling, so we kind of just lean on Facebook. Anyway. So I'll just say this. If you're not a part of the Facebook community, we'd absolutely love to have you. We have a lot of fun conversations there. That's where you can ask the questions for Q&A. We have polls and memes and all kinds of goodies there. So, but if you do want to hear our thoughts on Mandalorian, the next two episodes, just know that that's where you're going to find it.
Correct.
So.
Yeah. So our next podcast, we will, just to be very clear, our next podcast, we will be reviewing episode 14 or chapter 14, I believe. Right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. Because last one, yeah. So 12 and 13, you will catch our impressions through Facebook Live.
Yep.
So be looking for that. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into the news.
Oh yeah.
First off, here we have Star Wars announces Minecraft DLC based on The Mandalorian and the original trilogy.
Nice.
So what we have here, it says they have some. Actually, they're kind of considering this part of Mando Monday is when they announced it.
Okay.
Kind of to be part of that. But it's inspired by A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and The Mandalorian. This is going to include new skins based on Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, Darth Vader, Din Djarin, and more, but will also feature vehicles, creatures, locations, and planets.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We had watched gosh, I'm kind of blanking off the top of my head anyway, the holiday special on Disney Plus. We had watched it on Andrew's Xbox, and so when we went back to the home screen or whatever, the home page, I saw it down there, and actually I had kind of forgotten about that until he had pointed out, and I'm like, what is that? And because I saw Star Wars and stuff. Anyway, it was Minecraft, and I'm like, that's actually pretty cool because I know there's already been Star Wars skins and things of that nature on there, but this seems to be quite a bit more in depth. This has like retextured skins with a lot more detail. There's actually supposed to be I think certain, like I said, worlds that are on there that maybe with some pre-built stuff on there, like AT-ATs and buildings and things.
This here is saying the team built all the iconic Star Wars locations, including Tatooine, Hoth, Endor, Navarro, and the Death Stars, and populated them with the creatures, vehicles, droids, and characters you would expect to see. We made sure to include as much as we could from the original trilogy and the Mandalorian series, and packed every planet with detail and movie moments. If you can think of a particular scene or location from this era of Star Wars, chances are we built it.
Which is pretty cool.
Cool.
Especially if you guys play Minecraft. I mean, I haven't played for a while, but I do love Minecraft. But if you guys are actively out there playing it, that's gonna be something really cool. In fact, I might even download Minecraft again just to hop on there.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's like a cost related to this. If this is free DLC.
Yeah, I haven't seen that actually. That would be good to know.
It would be good to know, but oh wait, here we
are. Yeah.
I'm looking at the marketplace. So I'm pressing get this item. Let's see if it tries to tell me to buy something.
Okay.
Well, it just took me to the Minecraft app, so I don't know.
So it very well might be just like an update. Like they might include that. I would be surprised, frankly, if that was the case. Just because Disney and they love making money, and if they can, they will. So
I would be very surprised if this is free. I would say there's some kind of price to this, but yeah. So I mean, if you're interested in that, I mean, I know you and me, we used to play a lot of Minecraft together.
Oh yeah.
Not so much anymore these days, but this might be a reason for us to maybe jump on at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
And mess around, maybe record it or something.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I will say though that the retextured skins are a little bit disturbing. I'm not gonna lie. The faces are incredibly detailed for a Minecraft skin. But other than that, it looks really cool. And like I said, the fact that they really took the time to,
I mean, they got Carl Weathers' wrinkles like just right.
Oh man, yeah, they're very fine detail on there. Anyway, but the fact that they went through and took the time to create like a lot of iconic locations and like I said, all kinds of really cool. I just seen from the screenshots, I saw really cool like an AT-AT. I saw a sand crawler and a bunch of stuff. So it was pretty cool. So definitely something. If you're interested in that, please check it out, and we probably will too. So. All right, so the next news piece for the day is Janina Gavankar. I'm probably saying her name wrong, per usual, but that's okay, because you expect nothing less here at Jedi Eternal, the whole cultural hub of the world. But anyway, Janina Gavankar, who played Iden Versio in Battlefront 2. Those of you who played the main story mode campaign, you'll know who I'm talking about. If you haven't, that would be a great thing. It is canon, very cool stuff. Anyway, she played Iden Versio as kind of the live actor for the game, but she had a very interesting cameo come up in the recent Mandalorian episode, which was chapter 11. So Drew, do you have any more on that? Or do you want me to just go ahead and reveal the great
well
cameo?
So I'm trying to. Okay, so this is what she says. There's a Mon Calamari who puts their hands on their hips. That's Frank Ippolito, who's inside that rig. We're talking about sweater Mon Calamari guy.
Yeah, the one with the legit human like Nordic fishing sweater. Yeah, that's that one.
He made that headpiece, and it takes 2 puppeteers to animate it. And they needed a second puppeteer to just handle the nostrils of this character. And Ippolito called me, and he said, "Do you want to come puppeteer the nostrils of this Mon Calamari?" And she said yes.
So as you can see, Janina's acting career is flourishing at the moment right now. She's doing a lot of really cool live action stuff, and she's also puppeting nostrils for an alien. So that's really cool.
Yeah. So, when I hear this, I can't help but wonder if there's maybe a little more to this than they're saying.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they're talking to her about Iden Versio making a return. Which would be very plausible in this time period of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it is very plausible, of course, as obviously we know, playing the game, I guess not necessarily spoilers, but she doesn't die for quite some time.
Right.
And so therefore, as the events of Battlefront 2 occur, it's obviously kind of at the end of the original trilogy when the Death Star blows up and now they don't know what to do. This could definitely play into the same time zone. Of course, we have there's no actual news on that part. That's just kind of sheer speculation for us.
Yeah, that's just speculation.
But the news piece of that is that she was the puppeteer for the nostrils.
She claims that she's on set, and Filoni sees her, and Filoni looks at her, but he doesn't recognize truly who she is. Yeah. But like he could tell, like there was like he, like I should know you.
Yeah.
And
kind of rude.
and when she said she revealed she was there as a puppeteer and everything.
Saying, you're the girl who
he was like
puppeteered the nostril.
And she said the response she got from Filoni was one of those "of course you are" kind of things. So
really,
I guess maybe that's true, but I don't know. To me, it just seems like. I really feel like there's maybe some kind of
there really could be more to that.
There's more to this. Like they've got to be talking to her again, and you know what I mean.
Could it be that like you said, could it be that they have her on set as the puppeteer of the nostrils of a random Mon Calamari, just so they can say that they have her on set, but it's actually kind of secondary purpose?
Yeah, I could totally see she was already on set for other reasons, whether talking about maybe an appearance in the next season.
Yeah,
maybe not even because of being in this season. And during all of that, they're like, "Hey, how about you just jump in on this, just have some fun, whatever."
Yeah, might as well. Right?
But for she's a well enough actress to probably be busy doing things. So it just doesn't really add up that she would just go to on the set just to do that.
Yeah, I don't know either. And like I said, I don't know what else she's in, but I will say, she's an actress, right? So why would she just be doing?
Yeah, and you can say, well, she just said that Filoni. Yeah, well, you know what? They lie to us all the time. So
they do, and they will. So frankly,
Obi-Wan Kenobi
lied to us for years.
How
dare you?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, well, let's move on from that. So Mando Monday, of course, came around again, and we got some stuff based on the latest episode. Again, as we have said, and I'll say it again, we talk about spoilers for previous episodes once it's been about a week or so, and so we're basically there's a lot of Bo-Katan stuff up on the store now. A lot of different T-shirts and stuff that have her in them, which is very cool to see. Honestly, that's like the gist of what we got this past Mando Monday is a lot of Bo-Katan merch, which makes sense. And this, I don't think this came out this week, but I did want to just mention it. Have you checked out that Adidas collection?
Well, I was about to mention.
Really?
Yeah, I was about to say the highlight for me of this Mando Monday drop is the Adidas collection, because I'm actually a big Adidas fan.
I am as well.
And I'm actually rocking some right now. But yeah, they got some really, really cool like Mandalorian themed ones. And there's like a specific like Din Djarin version that just looks very nice.
Yeah, I mean these look fantastic. If you have not checked them out, you should go.
So if anybody wants to buy me some, that's absolutely within your jurisdiction. So
we will send you our address if you want to buy these
for Christmas. If you appreciate us here, you're always free to get them.
Are you looking at the Mandalorian R1 shoes?
Yeah, the NMD R1s.
Those are.
See, the NMDs are actually on a side note, as an Adidas nerd, NMDs are amazing shoes within themselves. But
they're only $120, folks. So $240.
Yeah, and you could make our year. You really could. Now they actually had, and funny enough, Star Wars and Adidas do a lot of stuff together, and they've been making NMDs a lot in different versions, and they had a really sick Darth Vader version that I wanted.
Well,
really bad.
that Superstar Darth Vader version they have up is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. I do like the NMDs better, like just the shoe design themselves.
The shoe design itself, yeah, is better.
But yeah, I do like the other ones as well. So if you're, like I said, we're kind of focusing on the Adidas, but there's a lot of really cool stuff. If you are an Adidas fan, or if you like shoes that are Star Wars related.
Yeah. They also have a cool looking the child version, but it looks like maybe it's already out of stock or something, because it's not showing up. Like it shows up on the picture, and when you tap on it and go to the store, it's not there.
Well, if you go to the NMD Mandalorian ones, like the one we're talking about, they have sizes ranging from 3.5 to 6.5 in men's. So you're not gonna get those anyway.
Okay.
So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of cool stuff there. Go and check that out. Of course, that's happening every Monday during the Mandalorian. So every time a new episode comes out, there's new stuff kind of related to that episode. Very cool way to do it. I'm enjoying seeing it. I've not bought anything from Mando Monday yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything I just have to have yet. But
right, but it's been cool to like go and check out the store.
Once
that episode has been out for a couple of days, and you get to kind of just see what they came up with. It's neat. I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
I hope they continue to do it.
I think it's a really cool idea, and it's kind of like you said. It's just, even if you don't, it's kind of like window shopping. It's kind of like just fun to go see what's new. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we get a cool new character, and then you get to go and see all the stuff that they came up with for that character. So
exactly. And before we move on, I will just say they came out with the new Baby Yoda tumbler, and that's pretty sick too. So
nice.
Anyways,
hey, do you mind turning that light on behind you? It's getting really dark in here.
It's like I can't see anything.
I can't. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Anyway, all right. So our next and final news piece for this week is Star Wars Squadrons, the infamous video game, the small project, the pet project of Mode of Montreal, the Liars.
He just blew everybody's eardrums off with that.
Well, I want you to feel the tension in the room. Motive lied to us. How dare they?
Again.
And they said that it was not going to. I mean, like basically, you get what you get. Don't throw a fit. The game is what it is. And no, that's not true. There's not only getting 1, but 2 content drops for the game coming this year, before the end of the year. So that's cool for those of you who are playing the game, but it's just kind of funny. It's like, really? You're going to just sit here and like say like, oh, nothing's happening. And then, oh, by the way, here's 2 drops.
Basically, they already changed their minds.
Oh, wait, this much money's coming in?
They realized, wait, there is people here still playing it. There are people that really want new content.
Yep.
So I think it's good for them that they have that, and that's not a bad problem to have.
No.
And honestly, I was always kind of surprised that they were not going to release any more content. Mm-hmm. It always just seemed kind of weird to me. Yeah. But speaking of the actual content that they're releasing, there's 2 different new ships being added. Yep. The B-Wings, which kind of surprised the B-Wings were already on there.
Yeah, I agree.
B-Wings and TIE Defenders, which for you lore junkies, TIE Defenders is the TIE fighter that was created by Thrawn himself.
Oh, yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of big kind of cult following for the B-Wings as well. So I'm sure those of you who are part of that little following there will be very excited about that.
Yeah, definitely.
As I'm saying, it's also kind of funny though, because I'm reading the article on StarWars.com. It says Star Wars Squadron took off in October, and the game's popularity has only skyrocketed, etc., etc. And the grateful Star Wars Squadron team is saying thank you this holiday season with a free 2-part content update. So yeah, I just thought that was funny. You know, like, oh, this is selling a lot more than we thought. Let's go ahead and throw some stuff out there.
And then also they're adding custom matches. That's the other big thing that they're adding. So I'm just gonna be completely transparent with you guys. Me and Braxton already fell off this ship.
Dude, you weren't supposed to say that. What?
I'm just being.
The fans will be crushed.
I'm being honest with our listeners here.
Yeah, no, I am too.
We like the idea of it. Looks great, plays great. But it's just not really our thing. And
the game itself is fantastic, but you know, if you're not a fan of dogfight games, you're not a damn fan of dogfight games. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, and so I did beat the story out of necessity of just knowing the canon story. Like, you know, it's just who I am. I have to know all of it. So I did do that, but you know, then I stored the game on my Star Wars canon shelf, and it's over there right there. Yeah, and I have no intentions of pulling it back out.
Wow, you don't like Star Wars?
Yeah, I know. We told you guys like, hey, we'll probably do some more videos of it and stuff, but to be honest, we just don't have a whole lot of drive to do that with that game.
No, I'll tell you this, and if you guys really want to see it, we can.
Well, and that's the thing. If we hear from you guys and you're like, we really want you to do it, we will do it for you guys.
But with ourselves, we have to have a motivation to do it. And as of right now, we don't have that. Now, I will tell you this: you'll probably get more than your heart's content of Lego Star Wars. What do they call it? The Complete Saga or whatever it's called now. I can't remember now.
The Skywalker
Saga. Anyway, you'll get more than your heart's content on that, I'm sure.
You're going to get more of that than you even want.
If you even want.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be fun for sure because you know, Drew, like I said, we talked about this before many times, and we just love anything Lego Star Wars, especially the games.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to be playing that quite a bit.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So anyways, that is all we got for our news this week, but we're going to jump into our rumors.
Oh, yeah.
So speaking of Bo-Katan and Katie Sackhoff, who is the actress, she was in a recent interview with Entertainment Online, and they were talking to her about her involvement with Rosario Dawson and Ahsoka in this show. And she says, I honestly don't know anything about Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka.
Yeah.
She says there's so many fan casts, so many rumors surrounding The Mandalorian. Some of them are true, some of them aren't. I have no idea. I've never met Rosario, so I don't know anything about it. I love the character from Clone Wars and Rebels, so I would love to see her. There's a lot of history with those two, Bo-Katan and Ahsoka. There's a lot of story there. There's a lot of camaraderie and respect, but there's also a lot of pain and distrust.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, a quote that she says is, quote, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. And that's legitimately the truth. That sounds exactly what someone would say if they're not telling the truth. No, but for real though.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that she's kind of being like this adamant about like, seriously guys, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I've not seen her. I have never heard anything about this. So, and you know, I will say just because she doesn't know about it doesn't mean it's not true. And second of all, she could be lying. And at the end of the day, it may be true. It may be completely true. I don't know. Right? I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Again, they're not afraid to lie to us if they have to. So that's one of those things.
And like I said, just because one person doesn't know about it doesn't mean that it's not true. You know what I'm saying?
I will say I assumed we would get her back in this season. Katie Sackhoff, that is, as Bo-Katan. I assume she'll be back in this season.
Yeah.
Probably maybe like the last episode or something like that. Kind of. I've been assuming we'll get something similar to what we got in the first season, where they went a bunch of different places, then everybody teamed up at the end.
Yeah.
She's too closely tied to Moff Gideon and the Darksaber.
Oh yes, absolutely.
All of this stuff. She's too closely tied to
just drop off.
Right.
Yeah.
She's going to be back in this. Now the question is it more in this season, or do they wait till the next season? I think that's the question.
Yeah.
And I will go ahead and I just want to talk about Ahsoka for a second. This is probably our best spot to talk about it, because we're not really talking about the Mandalorian next episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and throw out that, I do think Ahsoka is going to be in this show. I think she is in chapter 13. And I think we're going back to Navarro in chapter 12.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just kind of as a pit stop, maybe to try to get some more ship repairs, whatever. I think he's going there. So we're gonna see Cara Dune, Carl Weathers. We're gonna see those guys. We're gonna visit Navarro for a little bit. Then this goes to one of two ways. Either we get our first glance, our first short appearance of Ahsoka at the end of the next episode as a cliffhanger,
mm-hmm.
or we just don't see her until the next episode after that.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
I do really think that's when we're going to see her very soon. Unfortunately, while we're gone. But I feel pretty strongly about that. If I'm wrong that she's not the main focus of chapter 13, then I guess I'll just like admit my failure and just give up on pretending like I know everything about Star Wars.
I will say I'm pretty confident about that too.
I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, I say I'm on the same agreement with you. Now, I actually wanted to look this up because to kind of semi-confirm what we're saying to some degree, is that this is still kind of rumor, right? Obviously, because it's not truly proven, but quote unquote, Carl Weather confirms that Chapter 12 is the Navarro episode, because the Mandalorian the Mandalorian, like I think it was just like a fan account, shares a picture of the trailer where Mando, Baby Yoda, Carl Weathers
Carving.
Yeah. They're all standing there talking with one another. It's just kind of a still shot of the trailer. And then Carl Weathers himself, who's the director of the episode,
right.
Reposted or retweets it and then says, "We are back. Check out the next episode directed by yours truly." And it shows a screenshot of that scene. So it's pretty, it is still a rumor, but I'd say it's pretty certain that next episode 12 or chapter 12, should I say, is the Navarro episode.
Okay. So that makes sense.
And
from what we have gathered, I don't know if there's any official confirmation of this, but from our own investigating, it appears that Dave Filoni has written and directed Chapter 13.
So it just lines up.
It just lines up.
And it makes sense. I mean, because here's the thing. Listen, at the end of the day, if Dave Filoni, which is the co-creator, looks at Favreau and just says, "Hey, I want Ahsoka," and he's going to like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to say no. You know what I'm saying? And
they know it's going to get a lot of people excited.
Sure. Yeah.
For her to be in it is going to be a big deal. I mean, it's a huge deal.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
That we're potentially seeing this animated character that we've known and loved for years now in live action is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we don't have much longer to find out for sure. I really think we're going to finally see her. Yeah. Very soon. So
yeah, it's definitely gonna be soon, whether it be the next episode or the one after that. So
yeah, again, she could potentially show up towards the very end of this next episode, or they save her for the one after that. And I'd be interested to see what you guys think. If you have an opinion, actually, maybe we'll make a poll for it and see, ask when people think we're gonna see her. If it's gonna be in the end of this next. Maybe some people might disagree with us. Some people might think she's in all of next episode,
or maybe people think that she's not in it at all.
Yeah, I don't know how many options we can put down, but
yeah, we'll figure it out.
But I'd be interested to see your thoughts on it. But my bet is she's going to be featured heavily in Chapter 13. So
agreed. Okay, so our second to last, our penultimate rumor, is talking about Daisy Ridley. She was recently in an interview. actually with IGN themselves, when she was talking about the sequel trilogy, and she was talking about basically anything Star Wars, and they kind of had asked her about she had asked her about it's kind of the end results of her character and of the saga and things of that nature. And it says right here, it says the actress commented on the prospects of seeing Rey again, and for Rey fans, it may not be what they want to hear or what they had hoped. So her direct quote, this is what Daisy Ridley says: "I think for me the beauty of Episode 9 is it ends with such hope and such potential. I just feel like that was what Rey's perfect ending was. The big battle was in episodes. Hold on here. It's
7, 8, and 9.
It's been a while since I've read Roman numerals here.
It's 7, 8, and 9.
I can't think on the fly, people. Anyway, so that's what she says. 8, 9. I think she's really probably running around the Force somewhere having a great time. I feel totally satisfied with how that story finished. I just don't know what else she could do that I didn't have to do." So, I mean, so basically she's just saying she's completely satisfied with Rey's ending. That's kind of what she's alluding to, that she's completely happy with it. She doesn't want to come back to it. And she doesn't even think that it needs to be come back to, just in general. She thinks like, okay, everything's good now. She's around the Force being happy. I just feel like, I think for some people that they're like, well, yeah, okay, nice ending, but like what happens to her? And I think a lot of people have.
I think for me, had we jumped forward in time at the end of Rise of Skywalker, if they had jumped forward in time and we see a well-established Jedi temple,
agreed,
where Rey is an elderly woman that has created this great Jedi temple full of Jedi that are, these defenders of peace, and all is great, and she's officially accomplished what needed to be done. And
right.
I think if we had gotten that, then I would agree and say, we don't have to continue on. We got, but since we didn't get that, I think that there's more story to tell, because I personally think we need to see that return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Just because she's a Jedi, I don't think is enough. I think we need to see the Jedi Order restored to what it needed to be, what it used to be once upon a time.
Yeah, and they're just like going off the presumption that, because she's a Jedi, and now that the Emperor and everybody's defeated and stuff, okay, well, it just only makes sense that she's going to start training people. Well, yes, but we don't know that for sure, right? We don't know how it works out. We don't know where she's at, or there's so many factors that we don't understand. So I agree with you. I think if we wanted a true, real ending, we would have needed to kind of like get that ending story there.
Yeah, because in a sense, that ending is really Rey's beginning.
Yeah, it really has.
I mean, for Rey, that's only just the beginning for her, and it just took her a lot of work to get to that point. But I want to see all that pay off, and I don't think that necessarily even has to be a movie series, because you have to have a big bad enemy for a movie series, and to have a big bad enemy after Episode 9 is going to be exhausting for us if they do that anytime in the future. Like, it's going to have to be 30 years down the road, like we talked about before, if they want to do something like that. But I do want to see her story continue, and I think that's where we get novels and comics, things like that. Maybe a TV series,
maybe a Lego movie.
Well, we'll get to that, yeah. But something that can carry on some of this story, but doesn't have to have this big bad enemy that's even greater than Palpatine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think even like, so again, we talked about this. In fact, this was one of the things we talked about in their very first episode. In case you guys haven't heard it, you can go check it out. But one of the first
Star Wars, I don't even remember what our opinions were at this point.
Yeah, I think it's fairly the same. But basically, one of the things that we said, that if it were to ever come about where they come with the new trilogy post Episode 9, and with all these main characters that we've known and loved, all this time has died off, and it's basically just this new trio with Finn, Rey, and Poe. It's going to have to happen in the future, to which there's a younger generation that grew up watching the sequel trilogy, and that has the nostalgia for the sequel trilogy as they grow up. And it's gonna have to be them that in their time growing up, that's when those trilogy will be made.
Sure. Yeah.
And I still stand by that comment because I completely believe that.
I agree with you. That's going to be the best time for a new trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to continue, technically continue the Skywalker saga in a sense.
Yeah.
It's got to be years down the road.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we can't see more of Rey's story in the meantime. In
I agree
a
with that.
smaller format.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in this overarching sense of the entire, like, trilogy of the continuation. Yeah.
Right.
We're on the same page.
And someone, please tell us what this next Star Wars movie is going to be. It's killing me.
I don't even care what it is at this point. Just let me know. Like, even just a little taste. That's all I want. Anyway, yeah. All right, Drew, you want to send us off on our final rumor for the week?
Oh, yes. That's a great idea.
It is, yeah. Brother, we're playing
my
Temple
apologies.
Run or something.
No, I got a text message and I was looking at it, and then I don't normally look at my text messages during the show. That was my first mistake.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So, new Star Wars game in the works from Zynga. Now, you could technically say this is kind of news / rumor because this Zynga has said that they are working on a premier mobile game set in the Star Wars universe. Where the rumor part of it comes in is we don't really know what this is. And honestly, I don't even know. I mean, I could see it being a sequel trilogy type deal, or original trilogy, probably one of those two. But other than that, or maybe even a Mandalorian type thing going on.
Yeah, I could almost see Mandalorian.
Just because it's so popular right now. But other than that, we don't really know anything about it. We just know they were looking to hire 25 new employees to help bring this vision to life.
Yeah.
And that their mission is bringing AAA console visuals and deep, compelling gameplay to mobile platforms.
Which is, I mean, that's a big statement there.
That is a big statement.
I mean, but then again, you have Zynga, a giant in the video game industry, creating games like Farmville and things of that nature. So, So, I mean, AAA console visuals and deep, compelling gameplay. I mean, that's right up their alley. No, for real though.
Just, ask your aunt about the graphics in Farmville, and she will tell you that, it's pretty realistic.
Anyway, yeah. So, no, but so they have actually created a brand spanking.
No offense to anyone that enjoys Farmville.
No, it's nothing wrong with the game, but it's not AAA console visual and deep, compelling gameplay.
Yeah.
I will give them this. They have a brand spanking new game development studio based out of Austin, Texas, and they are partnering with Natural Motion to develop this new title. So it'll be interesting to see what they go with that. Basically, that's kind of really all it says. And that was one thing I was going to hit too, but you already said it, is that they do intend to, instead of it being just kind of like this simple cash grab type game, they're actually wanting to make it a big game as far as mobile goes, right? As best graphics as they get, rephrase that, as best graphics as they can get it to be, and as good a storytelling as they can be for a mobile game. Which, I mean, hey, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, if I can get a good story on the go with my phone, why not, right? And next, any Star Wars is good Star Wars, in our opinion. I'm not a huge proponent of mobile gaming.
I'm not either.
But I do think there is a lot of, modern generation, Gen Z is coming up, and they do like playing mobiles.
But hey, I mean, you do it right, and you can get me in on
for
it.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, if this is truly they're trying to go like AAA title with this thing.
Yeah.
And it tells like a compelling story set in the Star Wars universe, you'll probably get me to play it.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, if it looks good and there's an actual story that has to do with the lore, yeah, I'll definitely play it.
If it's another one of these games that's just filled with
loot boxes,
like loot boxes and timers that you have to wait on to be able to
turn-based
play
gaming where you can go pick up treasure.
Then I'm probably out.
Yeah,
and it's just not for me.
And the sad part is, like I said, and that's why like 99% of mobile gaming is that. right?
Right. These free to play games that
Yeah.
they expect you to spend money to do things quicker, and they expect you to not have the patience to play them
Right.
that way.
And I do think that it is kind of inherent to mobile gaming, because I would say the renaissance of mobile gaming happened around anywhere between 2009 and 2012, when you had games like Infinity Blade and I can't think of a whole lot.
I will say, like, what Apple Arcade is doing is really cool.
That's cool.
They've really they're changing the way that stuff works. Like the games on Apple Arcade, I tried it out for a little bit when it first came out, and like those are, I wouldn't say necessarily console quality, but they're a lot closer, and they're not all that free to play type.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a
no opinion.
Yeah, if you have a subscription, of course
no
not.
offense, I meant to say. So, and maybe something like this could potentially come to an Apple Arcade subscription, and that would be cool.
Yeah.
And it would get me to probably sign up again for it. So
now I will say this: if you look up, I just looked this up because I wasn't familiar with them. Natural Motion, which is who they're partnering with, they are a subsidy of Zynga, but they have created games like CSR and CSR2, which is racing games, and they do have like almost photorealistic graphics.
Okay.
So it makes sense that they're partnering with them. Like I said, just Zynga is such an odd developer to create AAA graphics and compelling storytelling. You know what I'm saying?
If you don't mind, look up Zynga real quick and just see like their most recent games, because they're not the actual developers. They're just the
Yeah. See, I'm gonna put modern games because we're getting Farmville 2. I'm trying to see here. I don't know. I can't really find it. Well, let me go back. So anyway, but like I said, a lot of the games that they're putting out, you know what I'm saying, are these kind of like just very simple things. Now, like I said, CSR is technically them, because they own the other one, whatever I say, Motion, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm looking at, I don't see a whole lot.
Zynga's the publisher. That was the word I was looking for.
Oh, publisher. Okay. Yeah.
They're just the publishers, and then of course they have developers that are making these
True.
games.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something to take note of.
Sure. And like I said, maybe that's the thing. They're the publisher, but Natural Motion will be the developer or whatever, right? Because they're the one making like the photo.
Right. And Natural Motion created those racing games, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that makes me wonder if this is going to be some kind of maybe another kind of dogfight style game or something.
Well, it could be that, or it could be like one of those things where it has
maybe a new pod racer or something.
Well, I know. Well, I mean that's not compelling storytelling necessarily. Okay, maybe. Well, this is what I'm thinking, and this is the rumor part of it. And this is my speculation. Is what it very well could be is that. Because you have to trade off, right? You can't have, especially with mobile gaming, phones are getting a lot stronger now, but for the most part, you can't have like this huge photorealistic open world like you could with like a console or a PC, right? So you have to have a trade-off. So my thing is when you play CSR, if I'm not mistaken, and I think I played it a long time ago, but it's not like an open world racing game. It's where you're on a drag race track and you press the pedal when it, beep, 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 and then like, hit the go, pedal, and then like the task is switching gears right as it gets the appropriate RPM, so and so it's very linear, and you just have to press these certain buttons, and then you can go left and right as well with these certain timed buttons. So maybe they have a very specific, compelling story they want to tell, photorealistic, but yet it's more like narrative driven, where like you can make choices, but it's like a go left or go right. Say, what do you say here type thing, but you don't walk around and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of similar to
like a Telltale.
That's what I was trying to say, except maybe even less, more
Right.
linear. But who knows? Like I said,
I'd be all for that. I think that sounds great.
Yeah, I think that'd be really fun if they do it right. I'd totally do it.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of times the frustrations with mobile games is the trying to control something.
That is a pain in the butt. Yes.
And so maybe if it was something more where it was more of like an interactive movie or something, that would be kind of cool.
I agree. I think that would be really fun.
All right. Well, that is all of our rumors. So we're going to jump in. Do we have one more?
No.
Oh, I thought you were giving me a look like.
No.
Because I closed my phone.
Well, I was
so
thinking
because
I
something
thought,
else you want to say about it?
no, no, not on that. I thought there was something else we just wanted to say about it. Go ahead though. I might come to me. So
okay. So we're gonna jump into releases, and we have the next issue of Dr. Aphra is going to be on Wednesday. That is the only comic release that we have. No novels or anything this week. Of course, we have Mando Monday on Monday, and we have the next chapter of The Mandalorian, chapter 12, on. Oh wait, no, sorry, that would have already happened when you guys read this. So it'll be chapter 13. Sorry, it's a little confusing sometimes.
Yeah,
so it'll be chapter 13, potentially the Ahsoka episode. So that's going to be very exciting. Of course, also going to be during the week of Thanksgiving, and we both hope that you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Agreed. I do remember what I was going to say now.
Okay.
It is to do with rumors. That's why I thought about it. I was talking to Drew before we did started the podcast today, and I was going through my laptop, and I accidentally clicked on one of my files, and all of a sudden the notes for episode 18 came up, which was like, months and months ago, right? And I was looking through, I just kind of skimming through. I'm like, oh, what did we talk about on this episode, And I went to the rumor section. The very first rumor said, okay, apparently, one of the rumors that had come up was that the rumor is Timothy Oliphant is going to be Boba Fett in the new Mandalorian season. And I just thought it was funny we was talking about that. It's like, hey, we talked about that rumor. The rumor that was that he was going to be Boba Fett. And our theory was that he was going to end up wearing Boba Fett's armor, but not actually be Boba Fett. And we talked about him possibly being Cobb Vanth. Yeah. And all I'm going to say is that it happened. So if you guys ever questioned us on our theory, rumor decisions, well, not anymore.
There you have it, folks.
we are the ultimate.
We kind of know what we're talking about.
Kind of know what we're talking about.
No, it'll be fun one day to go back and just listen to all those rumor sections that we have really every week and see how those panned out in comparison to what we originally said.
Well, that was just a really funny example that ended up coming to fruition. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Andrew may not. I'll go ahead and call it. The Zynga game is gonna be like how I described it. So.
Oh man, I'm not gonna call anything. I don't really know.
I don't know either, but just going off of how their developer has based games.
Okay, well you heard it there first, folks.
Yeah. You never know. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and get into our Q&A for the week. So as all of you know, we try to make a Facebook post where you guys ask us about questions, topics, anything you want us to talk about. And you guys came in this week hardcore, and we had
clutch.
Came in. Well, it's like not clutch because I actually posted it at the right time this week. I didn't post it 45 minutes before the podcast.
It's a Christmas miracle.
I don't know how I knew. I don't know. Anyway, so you guys had 6 questions this week. So that was awesome, first of all, between all the messages, Facebook and Instagram. So let's go ahead into our first question. This actually is kind of a leftover question from last week that we're picking up in the queue. And that is from Mr. Stuart Martin. And Stuart, we appreciate your question. And he says, do you guys think that's all we see of Boba in The Mandalorian?
Great question.
That is a very good question. I usually start off, but Drew, go ahead. I have some thoughts, but you go ahead.
Okay. So my guess is no. We will see more of him. I don't know that we're going to see a lot more of him. Because based off everything we've seen so far, this story doesn't necessarily connect that much to Boba Fett himself.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that Mando has his armor, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's the only thing. And so we assume Boba is going to most likely want his armor back. And that is where we're going to probably get another interaction between them, is Boba following him and getting his armor back, is what I would assume.
Yeah.
So looking at that as a potentially just a side narrative, I I don't think that we're going to get a lot more of him, but I do think we'll maybe see him towards the end of this season, maybe even the very end potentially. But I think I do think we're going to see him again, because I don't think you give that big of a surprise and not do anything else with it this season.
Yeah.
Now, will a lot more of him be featured in season 3? Maybe.
Yeah.
But we might also just get one more episode where we actually like interact with him, have some time with him, that then goes off, that sends him on that trail to the spinoff series that is rumored to be in the works.
Yeah. I'm on the same page as you. Honestly, I really don't know, because the way it's feeling now is, and I think I definitely see where you're coming from, Stuart, because it's like, it feels like, okay, what in the world? How are they going to get Boba Fett back, right?
Right.
But I think it is very odd, even just in general. I do think, even if we're going to see more of him, I do think it is a little odd that they just show him in the first episode, took his armor, all this crazy stuff, and then just left. And like now it's just like not done with, but you know what I'm saying? It feels like it's done
definitely
with.
put on hold, right?
You're like,
it's definitely been put on hold.
Exactly? I know they probably wanted a big boom episode to come back, or to come in with, you know what I'm saying? So I understand. So I will say this, no, I don't think he is done with. But I agree with you. I do think it's going to be pretty limited, especially if hold on, Andrew's just trying to tell me something. Anyway,
Sorry.
Anyway, I can't read lips for my life. Anyway, so I definitely think that I don't even know what I'm talking about now.
Sorry.
Long story short, I definitely think that he's going to be back, but he's not going to be in a whole lot more. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Basically, especially if we end up getting this rumored Boba Fett series.
Sure.
Between now and
as we've said
year.
many times, the rumor has been that this season specifically has been basically preparing for multiple different spin-offs. Right. And if Ahsoka is going to potentially be getting some kind of spin-off from this, and even Boba Fett, that all kind of lines up, right? That we wouldn't get a ton more of him.
Yeah, it's kind of like a launching pad for his own thing. You know.
Yeah, I think if we get him again, like I said, it's going to be because he wants his armor back.
Yeah,
and we might get some interaction there. We'll get the story where basically, Mando will find out, well, you're not a real Mandalorian,
right?
And probably not going to want to give the armor back, so that'll be interesting.
I agree.
But yeah, in my opinion, if they wait till season 3, that's crazy. In my opinion.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree.
I want to see more of that this season, and I hope that first episode tease was not like. I hope that they're not. Their plan is to make people wait till next year.
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy. I could imagine. I mean, could imagine
it's very, very possible.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think it'd be a dumb decision. Frankly,
I mean, because they might be like, okay, well, now we're gonna wait till next season when they go to Tatooine again, and then we're gonna finally touch on what happened.
Which I guess I could see that, but I just think it would be a dumb decision. But anyway,
yeah, so only time will tell for sure.
Yeah,
I have high hopes that we'll see him again.
Yeah, I agree. So how much we'll get, I don't know, but I do think we'll see him at least one more time.
Sure.
All right, so again, Stuart, thank you for the great question. Our second question comes from Brandon Dukes, and Mr. Brandon says, what are the chances that Darth Vader and Obi-Wan actually recognize R2 in the beginning of A New Hope? Or by chance was this overlooked, as it was possibly the first episode with expanding being unknown as it wasn't scripted? So I would say kind of the usual practical answer would just be yes. A New Hope was the first one of its kind, first movie. They had no idea how the story would go. And, George Lucas going back to the prequels and having R2-D2 being such a huge integral part of Obi-Wan and Anakin's lives, and then it's like, oh, who's this little droid? It is weird, right? So I definitely understand why. Like why didn't you recognize him? And I definitely think, practically speaking, it is an oversight. But I have some kind of theories. But Drew, you actually say you have some more lore, canonical lore as to why that is.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize we were talking about this one today. I thought that we were doing this one next week, so
I thought so too. I realized that it was actually
okay.
this week.
So I was not prepared for this, but
Oopsie.
like I would have, had my notes a little bit more together. But yes,
like to keep him on his toes.
We do, yeah, clearly we do have a canon answer for this, and it actually came from a junior novel. That is considered canon. It's The Princess, the Scoundrel, and the Farm Boy, which is a retelling of A New Hope. Mm-hmm. And basically what happens is, Kenobi, he says, I never owned a droid and all of that. And they get on the Millennium Falcon and they're headed off, and Han overhears Kenobi talking to R2. It's very, very faint. He can barely hear him at all. But Kenobi goes up to him and says, "It's good to fly with you again, old friend."
Oh, yeah.
And he says it really softly.
Nice.
And so there's your canon answer. That
like
book
he
is canon.
Did know.
He did know. He just didn't. He wasn't revealing all of his cards just yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did not want.
Well,
as we know, like he didn't tell Luke everything. He didn't
Right.
want Luke to know everything about his past and his connections yet. And but there's your confirmation that that they did know each other. But I'll speak as far as like the movie, why the movie did it that way. You're dead on. It's just the way it,
kind of an oversight during the time.
Well, yeah, because they didn't have that prequel story yet.
Right.
None of that was even around.
Right.
So of course that is the realism answer. But when we're looking as far as canon goes, that is your canon answer. So
yeah, so he did know. I think it just in that time, like everything was so fresh and new in terms of like the actual canon story. Like like Luke, he's after this whole time, you got to think about it. Obi-Wan / Ben's whole job in life was to never interact with Luke. According to legends at least, right? We don't know this for sure until we watch the upcoming Kenobi series. But in terms of the lore, like when they first got there, he tried to like be around Luke and things of that nature. But then like Lars was like, "No, you gotta leave, man, because like if someone spots you, it's gonna draw them right to us."
Yeah.
So basically, if it goes on that same thread, his whole life was to be as distant and unknowing, I don't know what the word would be, like unknowing towards Luke, right? His whole life until he grew up to that point. So of course, like he's already going to be kind of like, oh, what do I tell him? What do I don't tell him? Do I tell him if I know the droid? Because at first, he didn't know if he was even wanting to reveal himself as who he was, right? Because the whole like, oh, I don't know about this droid was the very first thing, right? Oh, this droid, hey Ben, this droid.
Yeah, and technically he says, I don't recall owning a droid.
Yeah, technically he didn't own that droid, but
yeah, so
it was Anakin's. But anyway.
Right, so he didn't even necessarily lie there.
Yeah, that is true, exactly.
And he had an R4 unit, but like, I think it was assigned to him. I don't think he owned it, so I don't know.
Yeah, so it's not quite the same. So anyway, we're kind of, you already know the answer, but I'm just trying to like see it from the lore side of it. He's just trying to like be like, what do I tell him? What do I don't tell him? Because like my whole life to this point has been not even interact with him, make sure he doesn't even know I exist type thing.
Right.
So there's that. Now to speak to Vader, right? You say Vader. I don't remember the specific scene where he would see R2. Like he very well may have. I just don't remember it. But let's just say he does, right? And he sees R2, and why didn't he recognize him? I will say this, right?
Are we talking in A New Hope?
That's what. Yeah. What point did he see him in New Hope? I can't remember. I guess maybe, my point I'm trying to make, it doesn't matter when he sees him. But
maybe like when they're headed back to the Millennium Falcon to leave the Death Star, when Darth Vader's fighting Kenobi. I think that'd be like one of the only times that he maybe would have seen R2.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
But even if he did, it's not like there was really any time for him to acknowledge that in that period of time.
Yeah. So my point was, it kind of like the first easy point would be, like I think even in the heat of the moment, Vader's not like specifically looking at R2 and like, I wonder what droid this is. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that he took the time to do that. But second of all, and this is kind of my main point, is that whenever he saw him, you got to think this has been. I can't remember the lore off the top of my head. Maybe 20 years. I don't know, 15 years, something like that, right? Between the end of when he would see him last, essentially in episode 3 to wherever he sees him, right? My point is that there's a lot of R2 units out there, a lot. And here's the thing, R2D2 is a very specific droid, but at the same time, R2 units all look the same. And second of all, there's probably so many that could be in the blue and white color scheme. So I guess just like an easy answer would just be that, like, it's been a long time since he's seen R2D2, and at the end of the day, thinking about it, not thinking about it, like, what are the chances that droid has survived this whole time? It's his droid, but yet it's somehow still alive, and because he didn't know someone's taking care of R2. He knew that, right? So I just think it's one of those things, like, he wouldn't, he just, like, R2, that's not R2, right? It could be any R2 unit. It doesn't have to be R2D2. So kind of a really long, drawn out answer for that, but I think that's the easiest way to look at it on a practical side and the lore side. So, all right. So third and final question comes from Alex Mason. Alex, thanks for the question, sir. And he asked one that I physically laughed out loud at, so I appreciate that. I was working, and I looked down and saw that, and I actually did physically laugh, so it was pretty funny. Anyway, the question was, this question needs to be asked. Is Baby Yoda actually hungry, or does he just enjoy killing? Hashtag evil clone Yoda.
It's a very good question, Alex.
That's a great question.
I mean, hey, we've heard the rumors that there's an evil clone Yoda that's going to fight Rey. Right. And what we all are waiting to hear is that the Mandalorian is actually just the origins of that evil clone Yoda. So.
Has to spawn from somewhere. So yeah, hey,
that's what this story's really about. You just don't know it yet.
Right? Maybe it's just the grassroots story of where we see Baby Yoda growing up and to turn into this evil clone that fights Rey. Hey, you never know. But now I don't know. Obviously, I think we're just they're trying to show that he's just this kind of careless child that's growing up and eating and stuff like that. But I like to think that maybe he turns into an evil Sith clone lord. But who knows? Anyway, Alex, and each and every one of you, Alex, Stuart, Brandon, all of you, fine gentlemen, we appreciate your questions this week. And those of you who have asked other questions and didn't get answered this week, you will be the very first ones to be answered next week.
Yeah,
so,
and we really appreciate it. Never hesitate to ask us questions. Mm-hmm. We love getting them, and also we love to have some in the queue ready to go for next week. Yes. That's more reassuring for us anyways. So never be afraid to ask questions. We want all of them, all the questions.
Exactly. Give us every question. And also those of you who are consistent listeners, because I know you're out there. You right now, you were hearing my voice. I know you're out there who don't ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And even if you're not afraid, but you just don't want to, please just do it for our own edification.
Sure. And if you don't want to comment, you can direct message us with your question. Yeah. And if you want to be anonymous, that's fine too.
Exactly.
We can even we don't have to mention your name. Yeah, that's fine. If some people don't like their names being mentioned, that's fine.
That's fine. They can say a Facebook. Commenter said, So. But basically, I'm just saying, like, and also those of you who just like, well, I would, but I just don't really get on Facebook all that much. Well, hey, you have another good reason, because this coming Friday, when you listen to this upcoming Friday or whenever, I don't know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we will be having our little live event talking about the chapters 12 and 13 of The Mandalorian. So that'll be a good reason for you to get on Facebook, and while you're there, drop a question. Sure. As well.
Make sure you like us too while you're there.
And like and follow, give us a good review, all that good stuff.
Good stuff. But anyways, let's jump into our main topic for this week. The Lego Star Wars Holiday Special has been released. It came out on Tuesday, and we watched it right before we jumped in on here to do our podcast, so it's still fresh in our minds. Probably could have used a rewatch before we did this, but
here's the thing. I'll say this because this is not inherently quote unquote a lore building important story. I don't know that we're going to have as much to say about it, because it's just a fun thing to watch. We're going to talk about our impressions. We're going to talk about maybe some things we see in it. But at the same time, don't expect like a really deep dive into this. We're just going to have some fun with it.
So we are going to just kind of jump right in I'm gonna go ahead and say we're just gonna do spoilers because
it's not really even like
there's
you know what I'm saying,
right. I mean, there's not necessarily spoilers for this. I mean, it's just it is what it is. It's not going to really hurt anyone, I don't believe.
Yeah.
So if they were to hear
so
something,
if you really want to see it like fresh impressions for the first time, I guess you can go ahead and get off now.
Right.
But,
right. Yeah. So I was expecting. I'm just gonna be honest. I was expecting a little bit more from this than what we got.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting it to be some amazing, super
a AAA title with a compelling story like Zynga game.
yeah. But I wasn't expecting it to be this phenomenal thing, but I was expecting maybe a little more fun with the idea of
the time travel.
Because basically what happens is, just to give you guys like a little bit of the story, Rey gets this thing and starts like teleporting, basically like going through the world between worlds without calling it that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's essentially what it is. And she's teleporting through time.
Thanks a lot, Filoni.
All these different thanks, Filoni. To all these different eras. So throughout this you see all kinds of scenes from Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm. A lot of different iconic moments and things of that nature.
And all of that is really, really cool and really neat to see. And this is a very just fun, enjoyable movie.
Lighthearted.
Yeah, it's got a lot of funny stuff. We laughed many times. Oh yeah,
there's a lot of actually really funny things there,
But the only part that kind of just like let me down was I thought we would have a little more fun with this idea that all these different characters are together.
Yeah.
For example, in the trailer, you see a lot. You see like the multiple Kenobis, and you see them all on Tatooine and like having this fight, right?
Yeah.
You see Mace Windu, and
I don't think we even saw Mace Windu.
I mean, he had to have been in the background of one of those, but like he never like said anything.
No.
But you have all these different characters. They're all together, and like. They only show that for a very short.
They could have interacted in weird ways or fun ways and stuff like that, but they don't do it.
And we get like a cut in half Darth Maul, which was great. And
he didn't even scream Kenobi once. I mean, what?
I just think there was a lot of potential for what they could have done with all that stuff, and they just didn't go there. And that's fine.
And I mean, at the end of the day, it is a 47-minute Lego movie,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, don't expect. I'll just insert here because this is on the same line here. The problem was with this, in my opinion, super, super fun. I loved it. I really did love it. It's just a fun little thing to sit down and laugh with some friends.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to throw in there, like I did enjoy it, and I'm actually looking forward to watching this with my daughter and like just having her watch it, and I think that's going to be even more enjoyable, is seeing her reaction to Rey being on there and stuff. And those things. So
I was going to say, like, I think that I agree with you, and this is kind of my main thing I want to say about it as well, is that like they really could have went so many different fun directions with it, but literally the entire time this movie was going on, there was 3 places they kept going back to, or that they were at the same time. You have the main section where they're on the Millennium Falcon. It's parked essentially on Kashyyyk, and they're preparing for Life Day, and like so that's like the main place to
because Chewbacca's family's coming in.
Yeah,
so
which I'm glad they did insert that. That was pretty good. Call back to the original one.
Right.
But then they Rey goes to this weird cryptic Jedi temple like Corvus or wherever. I don't remember where they said exactly. And then you're in Palpatine's throne room. Like those 3 places, you're at like at 90, like maybe like 85 to 90% of the time, that's where you're at. And all of these cool little like going through time, seeing scenes between Anakin and Obi-Wan, going and seeing Luke on the moisture farm at the very beginning, going and seeing X, Y, and Z, right? You go name all these really cool things, right? They just literally every time you see that, it's like 5 seconds. I mean, literally, you get there and it's done. Like it goes to the next thing. So I'm just saying, like Drew said, and I'm kind of just agreeing in a very long-winded way that they could have had so much more to that, but they just kept going back to the same 3 places over and over and over.
Yeah.
It was super fun, hilarious. I agree, but I just wish they had.
What would you say was your favorite part of all of it?
Oh, I don't know. I think what could have been my favorite part, at least, was the big fight on Tatooine. I think that could have been really awesome.
Yeah.
But that was literally they just alluded to the fact that they were having a battle there, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the Empire Strikes Back reference when Vader comes into Hoth and the rebel base on Hoth, and then like a time travel version of Vader comes in, and they start fighting one another, and then they realize like we're the same person, and then they start like, get that girl. Yeah. So I do think that there's a lot of little moments like that really kept me going. I thought, oh, that's really funny. I really like that.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I wish there was more like that. You know,
for me, the Emperor was the best part of this.
Oh, okay. As a character, he was the funniest one.
He was the best. Really brought a lot of great stuff to this. And it kind of reminds me of the Emperor in that animated series on YouTube, the Villain Pub. You've seen some of those, right? If you guys have never seen the Villain Pub on YouTube, look it up sometime.
It's like the Haishi animation.
Yeah, Haishi animation. And they have like a bunch of different villains from different movies, but the Emperor is like kind of like their leader or whatever. Yeah. And it's some pretty
He's just really like goofy, but like always evil. Like he's always evil and mad, but he's like goofy at the same time.
But the way he acts in that was very similar to the way the Emperor acts in this.
It did.
In that same kind of style. And I really like that.
And I know there's one part where they go through time and they go to a scene with the Kylo Ren scene where he had a shirt off. And he's like, let me tell you my plan. He's like, well, how about you do it with a shirt on? It's just something like that. It was hilarious.
Stuff,
you know?
Yeah, they ran with that joke for a while about Kylo with no shirt on.
One thing I did like throughout the whole movie is that not all they did, but a lot of big scenes were like them poking fun at themselves about the decisions they made and stuff like that. I did that was pretty fun.
Well, and they talk about Palpatine being thrown down down the reactor reactor shaft. Was it Rey? I think
no, it was Kylo.
Was it Kylo? And he says, "There's no way anyone could come back from that." And it like zooms in on his face, looking at the screen.
Yeah, it's like because we know there's no way anyone could come back from that. It's just stuff like that. It's so funny.
But yeah, I mean, and I like when Akbar brings. Oh, I guess it wouldn't have. You know what? That's actually interesting. It wouldn't have been Akbar, would it? It couldn't have been Akbar that brought that.
He had already died at this point. But whatever.
But whatever. But I'm just gonna call him Akbar. It was probably. There's another one. I can't remember what his name is.
It's like his son or nephew or something like that. But
But anyways. I'm just gonna call him Akbar anyways. Comes and brings Lando a gift at the end, and Lando
please
opens.
Be a cape. Please be a cape.
It's a cape, and then he goes, "It's a wrap. It's a wrap."
It's a lot of funny little things like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, just overall for me, like I said, my basic impressions. I do wish that they did more with it, but for a 47-minute Lego movie, I do think it was really fun. It had a lot of funny moments.
It was
and
fun.
I did for what the kind of like the 5-second chunks we did see, callbacks to other movies, I did enjoy it. I do wish they had more prequel stuff. There's a lot of prequel stuff they didn't touch on, but I would have loved to see more of that. But overall, I say it was pretty good.
Yeah, and
it's fun.
The animation was great.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
the animation was really good.
The animation was very well done, I think.
Yeah,
and it was great to see all these different places in this Lego animation. Again, there's a lot of good stuff to say about it. Yeah. It's just I just was hoping that for that little bit of extra to it that wasn't there.
I will say one good thing I'll say about this is it had better lightsaber choreography in the fights than all the sequel trilogy combined.
Add more lightsaber fighting than all of it combined.
And the graphic was better. So it's like
towards the end we have Rey, Kylo, Palpatine, Darth Vader, and two versions of Luke, and they're all in there like fighting. And that was fun. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to see, and just kind of how all that played out was really fun.
I hate you, Uncle Luke. It's like, I don't even know you.
Darth Vader and Palpatine's interaction
so sassy
is just. It's pretty great.
It's like happy life day, Emperor. It's like, what did you get me? It's like gives a mug.
Yeah,
best Emperor ever. It's like best Emperor ever. I'm the only Emperor. This gift sucks. Like, oh, You didn't have to say like that. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's funny.
I would encourage everybody to watch it. Gather your kids around if you got them. Watch it together. It's just a great way to celebrate Star Wars. Have some fun.
Yeah.
Will we remember this 20 years from now? Probably not.
It's not quite as memorable as the first, as the first holiday special. Probably for good reason, but hey.
But I wouldn't be against getting more of these. Something similar.
I think it was fun.
It was a fun time. And
yeah.
What would you rate this?
Out of like what scale
Out of
here?
Like from a 0 to 10.
0 to
stars.
10. Okay.
0 to 10 stars.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Like the IMDb scale, basically.
I would say like maybe 5.5 to 6. I would say somewhere through there.
I was thinking 6.
Yeah, because I would say it's very fun. Like there's not a lot to it. I wish it would have been longer. I wish they would have delved in different places and stuff. But it was fun, and I think it kind of filled that purpose of it just being fun and kind of just reminiscing, going through different stuff in Star Wars history and lore.
Right.
So yeah, I'd say somewhere around there.
Yeah, and all of this being said, for some of you who may be a little confused. This is not a canon story, okay? It respects the canon that came before it, and all of that. But this is not a canon story. Do not be confused by that. Do not take this as truth. This is just kind of having fun with Star Wars, which I know Disney has not done a lot of since they purchased Star Wars. There's not been a lot of this kind of thing that isn't canon, and mostly everything is. But this is one of those rare exceptions that we're getting where they're not. It's just not canon. I will say the one thing that we could take from this that potentially might be kind of considered canon is that Finn is training to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
I would say that might be the one thing we can gather from this that very well could be a part of the future of the canon timeline. Is that Finn is starting to be trained by Rey to become a Jedi. I could definitely see that being part of the future.
Yeah, there's a lot of allusions. That's not really that word, but alluding to's in the sequel trilogy of like the him being force sensitive things of that nature.
So that was kind of cool to see some of that. I mean, he's doing very badly right now.
But yeah. I will say that they treated that character very badly,
which is very interesting because as some of you may know, he has not had a lot of good things to say about
Star Wars
about how they treated him throughout the trilogy,
how they should have given him more,
and so like it's interesting after all of that. Now we get this, and they just make him an absolute joke,
absolute moron.
And I wonder if he's gonna be upset about that.
I would look forward to his comments.
I mean, he may never watch it, but if he does, I don't know that he'll be too happy about the betrayal of his character this time as well. So
it's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of fun little things. I mean, we could go on about little Easter eggs and stuff, but we're getting actually we're way over time.
We are seeing hour 16 somehow. I don't know.
Hey, it's not an hour and a half this time like last time. So
only 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But I definitely encourage you guys, go give it a watch. If there's anything you guys really liked about it, go ahead, tell us in the comments what you liked and enjoyed. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we want to thank everybody so much for the continued support towards the podcast, and we absolutely love hearing from you all. We look forward to hearing from you all. Again, I have to reiterate again just because I need to. I know there's people out there who doesn't really interact with our Facebook community a whole lot, and that's the best part. That's the whole reason we made this podcast, so we could create a community and have just like-minded Star Wars fans together. So feel free to reach out, even if you don't have a question or whatever. Just if you want to say hi or like the podcast or hate the podcast, I don't know, just reach out to us. We love to hear from each and every one of you. So please feel free to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram for weekly polls and news and discussions and memes and all that good stuff. But also follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and feel free to leave a review on those as well. But we thank you for listening, and we hope that you join us, 3 weeks from now?
2 weeks.
Or 2 weeks from now?
2 weeks.
For episode 41, inching ever closer to the 50 episode mark. But last but not least, may the Force be with you, and we thank you for joining the Jedi Eternal.